Hi guys, so this is the second half of our digestive system lecture, and I wanted to go ahead and show you where you can find things. So again, we are in Unit 3, Body Systems, and we're in Modular 8. And if you scroll on down, you will see, here we go. So here is the PowerPoint. We are using the digestive system PowerPoint that goes with your student workbook. And now we are on the digestive system notes part 2. So digestive system notes part 2 is what we are going to be going over. All right, so let's look at those notes. Here they are. I labeled them digestive system part 2 because that's what they are. And I did kind of block out the stuff that we already went through. So we're going to start with the digestive system process. And I'll be saying these words to you, but we also want to make sure that we have them in writing for you, for those who like to see and read through those. So we'll be going through all those parts, and in your notes, you'll be writing things down. So please make sure you have a pen, pencil, highlighter. We'll talk about nutrition, and then we'll talk about the nutrients and their functions. So this is the part where you'll be taking some notes and writing down the digestive system process right here. We'll talk about the small intestine and stuff. And then here are the major nutrients. There are 6. And in that function area, that is where you'll take notes on the function of each of the nutrients. So there's protein, carbohydrates, and lipids. And then over here we have water, vitamins, and minerals. So that is it. So those are the notes for the digestive system 2 PowerPoint. So let's go ahead and get into that PowerPoint. So this is, again, the continuation of the PowerPoint that we started in the part 1. And so we're going to start with this slide here. So if I were you, I'd get your notes out. You do have this in writing as well, but you can also be taking notes on this page here and filling in those blanks as we talk about things. All right. So digestion, it begins, it's a process. Here, let's start over. Digestion is the process by which food particles are broken down into nutrients. The 5 processes involved in digestion are the mechanical digestion, peristalsis, chemical digestion, absorption, and metabolism. So we need to break down the food that we eat or that an animal eats into nutrients, something that the body can absorb and use. So this is the process. So the mechanical digestion begins in the mouth, where food is chewed and broken down into smaller pieces. So horses and cattle, they eat a lot of that roughage. They have a lot of premolars and molars that grind and break down that food. We learned in cattle that they have 4 compartments to their stomach, and they use bacteria and microorganisms to really help to start to break down that food into smaller pieces, into something that the body can use and absorb. So horses have their large cecum, so they have that one stomach, small intestine, and that large cecum that really help that have bacteria and microorganisms in it to help break down that food that they eat, that roughage that they eat. So begins in the mouth, saliva is added, and then the teeth help to break down the parts of the food into those smaller pieces. Then we have peristalsis. That's the muscular contraction, the wave-like movement that moves the food through the digestive system. So we will be ultrasounding Violet. Greyhounds are very thin-skinned, and it is very easy to ultrasound them. And so we're going to ultrasound Violet and look at, hopefully see some peristalsis. So in the ultrasound, you'll kind of see gray things kind of coming out, moving back in and out. And you can see the wave-like movement, and that's peristalsis, and that's her digestive system moving food through it. Then you have... let's go back to mechanical digestion. I wanted to touch on poultry. So poultry do not have teeth. They use their gizzard to grind up and break down food. So if we do get some chickens in, their food is also mixed in with some oyster kind of shell stuff, and that ends up in the gizzard. And the gizzard is a muscular structure of the esophagus. It contains grit, so those oyster shell type grit stuff works to break down the food. So although chickens don't have teeth, they do use their gizzard to grind up food. And I hear some people like gizzards fried. I have never tried one. So, all right. Peristalsis, muscular contraction, moves food through the digestive system in a wave-like motion. Then we have chemical digestion. So enzymes and acids reduce the food particle size and change the particles into forms that can be used by the animal. Some chemical digestion occurs in the mouth where saliva is added. I mentioned that. But most chemical digestion takes place in the stomach with those digestive enzymes and the stomach acids, and then into the small intestine. So that is chemical digestion. So that starts with some saliva in the mouth, and then you have the enzymes and the acids that are added in the stomach and the small intestine that really start to break down those food particle sizes into something that the body can absorb and use. All right, now on to absorption. So nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream through intestinal villi. So intestinal villi are kind of like finger-like or hair-like projections that line the digestive system in the small intestine, and it gives them more surface area. So if you had just a flat wall of the intestine, well, you'd have this much surface area on each side. But the intestinal wall has these finger-like projections that give you more of that surface area so you can absorb more nutrients into the body, and that gets absorbed into the bloodstream. So it takes place mainly in the small intestine through the villi. These are microscopic structures that line the walls of the small intestine. In ruminants, some absorption takes place in the rumen. Absorption occurs through the process of diffusion and osmosis. Nutrients diffuse or move from an area of high concentration into an area of low concentration from the digestive tract into the bloodstream. So that is all in absorption. And all of those words I got directly from the notes. So you can take a look at those as you're jotting down these notes into your notes. Then let's move on to metabolism. So how the body uses the nutrients and stuff it absorbs. So nutrients are removed from the bloodstream and used by the body organs for things like bone growth, hair growth, maintaining the body temperature. So it moves into the bloodstream, and then the bloodstream takes it around to the different organs of the body. Metabolism is responsible for bone growth, muscle, fat, skin, and hair. It maintains body temperature and proper functioning of organs. It also aids in the repair of tissue, production of milk, and young, and performance work, and sexual performance as well for those breeding animals. All right, so that is your digestive process: mechanical digestion, peristalsis, chemical digestion, absorption, and metabolism, how the body uses those nutrients. All right, let's move on to major nutrients and function. So you'll be filling in the blank part of those box notes. I'll show you right now. So you have these box notes. You'll be filling in the function into that blank section. Woo, there we go, over here. All right. So we have the 6 major nutrients are protein, carbohydrates, fats, minerals, vitamins, and water. So nutrition is receiving a proper and balanced food and water ration so that the animal can grow, maintain its body, reproduce, and produce. So nutrients are substances or ingredients that are part of a diet or a ration of an animal to help maintain good health and proper growth. All right, so moving on to proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So these are all nutrients that we get energy, or an animal gets energy from. So protein, development and repair of body organs and tissues. They help with the production of wool, milk, eggs, fetal development, production of hormones and enzymes, antibodies to help fight off any diseases we might come in contact with, and transmission of DNA. One of the description is 25 amino acids are found in animal feeds. There's essential amino acids, and there are 10 required by dogs. Cats require 11. So that's taurine is that other one that cats require that dogs don't necessarily need. So can a cat survive off of eating dog food? Not really, because it needs taurine in its diet, and that is found in cat food, not in dog food. So all right, make sure you're putting in the function, copying down the function in that section there. Proteins are broken down into amino acids and are carried to various parts of the body via the bloodstream. All right, now moving on to carbohydrates. So carbohydrates support bodily functions such as breathing, digestion, exercise. They help maintain body temperature, and they store fat. So if you don't use them up, then they do turn into fat, and the body stores them for later. So carbohydrates are divided up into 2 categories. They're soluble and insoluble categories. So make sure you write down the function there. They are used to stimulate intestinal contractions, normalize intestinal transit time, and aid in the management of constipation and diarrhea. So we use those carbohydrates to kind of equal things out. And another form of energy. All right, so now we're going to the highest form of energy, lipids. So they enhance palatability, they make things taste good. They have a caloric value, add a caloric value to the feed. So cat food is a little higher in caloric value than dog food. So that might be one reason your dogs might go towards that cat food. Lipids do provide energy. They provide fatty acids for healthy skin and coat. They aid in absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. They help maintain body temperature, and they provide essential material for hormone secretion. So fats are very much needed. They are concentrated energy source. They do help in absorbing those fat-soluble vitamins. Those fat-soluble vitamins, I'll mention them later, but they are A, D, E, and K are those fat-soluble vitamins. They're part of the cell membrane, nerve tissue, and brain. So that is lipids. All right, so let's move on down to the next set of three. All right, so we have water. Water supports biochemical reactions such as respiration, digestion, conversion of food to be absorbable components. It helps to transport nutrients. It helps in maintaining body temperature. It gives body their form. So if you've ever watched Naked and Afraid and you've seen them transform between the first day and the last day, you can really see how that dehydration affects their body form. And water also helps carry waste from the body. So it's very important for getting that waste out of the body. So water is essential for life. We can go about two to 3 weeks probably without food, believe it or not. But you cannot go without water. You need to make sure that your animals have access to water, clean, fresh water at all times. And water is absorbed into the body through the walls of the stomach. Most important nutrient water is, and it makes up about 55 to 65% of an animal's body. It's found in every cell of the body, and it is a vital factor in animal nutrition. So that is water. All right, moving on to vitamins. Vitamins regulate digestion, absorption, metabolism, gland activity, and cell formation. They're necessary for normal vision. They help fight off diseases and develop a healthy nervous system. Vitamins are an organic compound essential for health. Needed only in trace amounts, so very small amounts are they needed. They are in two categories. There's water soluble vitamins, which are B complex and vitamin C, and then there are fat soluble vitamins. So you need fat to be able to absorb and break down these vitamins into a usable form. So those fat soluble vitamins, which you will see on a test in your near future, are A, D, E, and K. So vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Vitamins do not become part of an animal's body during metabolism, but instead act as a catalyst. So something to get the body started. It starts the body's chemical reactions. All right, moving on to our last one, and that is minerals. So minerals furnish structural material for the body, like teeth and bones. They aid in building body tissue. They help in digestion, muscle activity, and transmission of messages through the nervous system, and part of hormones as well. So there are macro minerals and there are micro minerals. Macro minerals include calcium, phosphorus, sodium, chlorine, potassium, sulfur, and magnesium. So there are micro minerals include copper, iodine, iron, magnesium, zinc, cobalt, selenium, molybdenum, chromium, fluorine, and silicone. One kind of caught me off guard there. All right, so there are two categories. So there are macro minerals and there are micro minerals. So the macro minerals are required at a larger amount, and then the micro minerals are just required at a smaller amounts. And then minerals are essential for metabolic process to take place. So for us to be able to use the nutrients, we've got to have minerals. They help. They are essential for metabolic process to take place. So those are the 6 nutrients and their functions. We also went over the digestive system process, and that is mechanical, peristalsis, you have chemical, absorption, and then metabolism. And that is the end of part 2. So as always, feel free to ask us any questions. And thanks for watching. See you guys. Bye.